Perek Zayin, Mishnah Bet. We're continuing our study of trees that don't have Shikechah, or we'll see do have Shikechah. Says the Mishnah. Zayit shenimtza omed bein shalosh shurot shel shnei malbenim. A malben is a rectangle. So if I have an olive tree that's in the middle of 3 rows of 2 malbenim, with 2 rectangles, ushikacho eino shikechah. So let's see. Here we go. Okay. So in our little example here, let me just get my cursor back. Okay, you have 3 rows of zayit. Okay, you have 3 rows of zayit. Okay, and you have 2 malbenim. You just use your imagination here. These are rows of produce. So he planted wheat or corn or whatever in between the rows of zaytim. I guess he had rows of trees and then realized, why should I waste his space? Okay, so it says the Mishnah, the zayit that's bein shalosh shirosh hasheni malbenim ushchacho eno shichecha. This zayit, if it's in the middle, okay, and you forgot it, that's not shikechah. Okay, why? Because that's a very specific zayit based on its place. Okay, since it's, I guess, smack dab in the middle of the 2 malbenim, so for whatever reason, the Mishnah says that this Mishnah is a zayit that has, like we said, machmat mikomo. We had a Mishnah before, okay, that a zayit that's known bishmo, b'masav, umumkomo, either by its name or by its actions or by its place. So here we have a zayit, the Mishnah says, that's in the place of between 3 rows and 2 malbenim. This zayit, for whatever reason, I don't know why you'd forget that zayit, but even if you did shikechah, there is no shikechah for that zayit. The Mishnah gives there's another possible explanation for this, the Kahati quotes, according to I think it's the Rambam, who says that this explanation of zayit shenimtza bein shalosh shurot shel shnei malbenim is, these are the shalosh shurot, the three rows. Okay, and I don't know where the Shnei Malbenim would be. The Shnei Malbenim, I guess you don't see that each one is the length of 2 Malbenim, and everybody, of course, back then knew what a Malben was. So the row was 3 shurot. Okay, this one actually we understand better because this zayit is very centrally located, so everybody would know this zayit because it's in the middle of these 3 rows, as opposed to the first explanation, why specifically the middle zayit would be known for its place. So again, you have very often we see this in the interpretation of a Mishnah. The classic interpretation, this is the understanding: 3 rows, the middle one, in between 2 malbenim, 2 rectangles. A malben is classically understood to mean a malben of produce. The only problem is we can't really understand the logic of why this zayit would necessarily be not shikechah. On the other hand, if we understand it this way, we have a difficulty interpreting the words. What are the shnei malbenim? Where are the 2 malbenim? So you have to say malben is an interpretation to mean a malben is a measurement. It's a little bit more difficult to interpret, but we understand why that zayit would not be shikechah. That zayit, everybody knows the place of that zayit, and it's very pronounced. The Mishnah continues. Zayit sheyesh bo sa'atayim u'shichacho eino shikechah. A zayit that has a quantity of 2 sa'ah. Remember, we learned the quantity of 2 sa'ah was for omerim, for piles, or for a lot of different, was 26 liters worth. Okay, it would not be shikechah. Similarly, so a zayit, any tree that has sa'atayim of, that huge measurement of olives in it, ushchacho, and you forgot it, also is not eno shikha, it's not shikha. B'medvayim amurim, when says the Mishnah, bizman shelo hitchilbo, if you didn't already start to harvest it. Avalim hitchilbo, but if you already started harvesting it, afilu kezaitan tufa b'shato, remember we learned about in the last Mishnah, zaitan tufa was either the zayit that produces a ton or the zayit of beit tufa, even if it was the most famous zayit in the world, ushchacho, yesh lo shikha, and you forgot it, then it would have a shikechah. The Kahati goes into a very long explanation that there's a Tosefta that has a very different girsa, and it complicates matters tremendously. I'm not going to go into it. Just understand that the Tosefta has a different girsa that adds more conditions. So the idea is, the question really is it sa'atayim? The implication of the Mishnah is, even if it was sa'atayim, or if it was had a shame, as long as if you started to harvest it, then it would have shikechah. The Kahati, the Tosefta has a different girsa, and the Rambam has a different version, or who quantify or qualify that condition. Nonetheless, according to the pshat of the Mishnah, no matter what it was, even if it was sheyesh lo sa'atayim, or kazayit tufa, or it was the most famous zayit in the world, as long as you imhitchilbo, as long as you started harvesting it, and then you left and forgot it, yesh lo shikechah. Finally, the Mishnah says, Kol zman sheyesh lo tachtav, yesh lo berosho. As long as there is, what they would do is, they would shake the trees, they would harvest the trees, and then they would leave the olives under it, and then they would gather them all at the same time. Says the Mishnah, Kol zman sheyesh lo tachtav, as long as there is olives on the bottom, yesh lo birosho. Then there's no shikechah above. Why? Because as long as there's olives under it, the guy's going to come back and he's going to always look up. He's going to continue. Rabbi Omer mishetelech ha-mechabe. Let's look up the word mechabe. I guess the Joshua says I was pronouncing it wrong. Machabe, a rod with which hidden olives are knocked down. Rambam. Or the working men searching after the hidden olives. Those are two interpretations. Jasper bonus, Peah 7:2. Says the Mishnah, I was already reading it wrong, okay? When the machabe, either when they stop hitting it with the stick, what happened was obviously if you check the olive tree, the olives, if you've ever seen an olive tree, there are a gazillion olives, so you have to really look carefully. So they would have a certain stick called the machabe that they would use to hit the chavui, hidden olives. So mishetelech ha-mechabe, when they stopped hitting with the olives, or on the other hand, machabe, they were the working men, there were crews that their job was to find the hidden olives. Okay? So when they were done collecting, then Rabbi Meir says, then there's no longer, then as long as he forgot it, then whatever he forgot after that, that's Shikechah. The Chachamim argue and say, no, you're not going to wait that long. I guess the Chachamim felt that according to Rabbi Meir, when the Machabe left, what would be left to be Shikechah? Meaning their job was to clear out everything left. So if you waited for them, then the ani wouldn't get anything. Rather, the Chachamim must have a much more lenient opinion, or strict for the Balabayit. When he's done collecting what's under it, then he's not going to come back to it, and then the ani can start going and trying to find the hidden olives. Seems much more fair to the ani. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to contact me at rspolter@gmail.com. I want to dedicate this learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.